Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Black and Blue Pod. I'm your host, Matt McLaughlin, alongside Timmy Gorman. Bad news or good news first? I guess Sixers just kind of...
Bad news.
Yeah, just get the therapy over with.
Yeah.
Get the therapy
Let's jump off the bridge first.
Yeah, exactly. So, Sixers lose in 6, and Game 6, it was lost 99-90. But this game, we both know, was far over than... or much more of a blowout than the score indicates. And unfortunately, sad news yesterday came out was Danny Green tore his ACL and I believe it was his LCL or MCL?
It's MCL, I think.
MCL.
So
because of that fall from
his career is
Embiid.
basically done.
It's tough because it's like, are you really going to sign a 35 to 36-year-old to a contract? But it's like, let's get to the series as a whole. As a whole, I don't understand how Embiid comes back in games 3 and 4, and game 5 happens, and it's like I'm okay with a loss in Miami because that's such a tough place to play in, but Embiid just didn't look the same compared to games 3 and 4 being back at home, and the team as a whole, there were so many question marks, and this just felt it was like post-nut syndrome on like a one-night stand. Like I look back at this roster and I'm like, oh my god, there's like no way
We should lose to the Heat.
I respect the Heat. Like I know you have different opinion about the Heat, but I think the Heat are just a deep team that can attack offensively with guys at all 5 positions. That's how I view the Heat, and you've obviously viewed them.
I mean, I think Spoelstra is one of the 3 best coaches in the league, and
Yeah.
obviously Jimmy Butler comes to play. Like we saw that when he was here. I think it's his whole little fucking bullshit rant about, Tobias Harris over
yeah.
me. Like, no,
yeah.
bro.
You wanted out. You wanted out.
And yes, that's partially on Elton Brand because you want to give him the extra year, but it's like, you've proven you can't stay healthy. So what if you were injured here? Like, oh, cool. So you got healthy for the playoffs, but you missed most of the season. Like,
and there's no guarantee that, and with when the Heat play the winner of the Bucks and the Celtics series, there's no guarantee that Bam, who got injured in 2020, there's no guarantee that Jimmy, who's had an injury history, that they stay healthy throughout that.
They already don't have Kyle Lowry.
They already don't have Kyle Lowry, and then Tyler Hero is looking rattled by some of these defenses, and now that the Heat have Max Strus to bail him out now, apparently. But
that's like another thing. It's like he's like the Duncan Robinson of this year. Like it's like they just find a new person, and I'm not like on the Tyler Hero is the one that like a lot of other people like love.
Yeah.
I think Doc screwed up big time because we were talking about this and I texted you and I said, why are they not just attacking whoever Hero is guarding? Like why don't they use whoever is on him, like make that like the go-to guy, especially with Embiid injured and Harden being like, and then Spoelstra's smart, he counters and he puts Hero and Harden, and like then you see what Harden can do. Like, but I just think if you don't make him work, then yeah, he's gonna get shots up and he's gonna hit him. He's a dead-eye shooter, but he doesn't attack the rim very well. He's definitely not a great defender, and that's part of the reason why Duncan Robinson isn't out there because they're both a liability.
Yeah.
And they've admitted such that they can't have them out there.
Yeah.
And I just I don't doubt the kid's ability, and you can say, oh, he's not that good of a player, like about people in the NBA, but the reality is, if you're in the NBA, you're one of you're in the 1% of players, basketball players around the world. You did something to make it there.
Well, and the Heat, it was so weird to see Duncan Robinson, who they're paying like $15 million a year, like his contract, that huge contract extension that he got, and Spoelstra's just putting him on the bench. He only gets 1 minute through like the first 5 games, and for me, that's something to look at going into this Bucks-Celtics series. Whoever comes out of that, because they're definitely going to attack whoever the Celtics or the Bucks. Tatum's going to go to the rim, or he can shoot outside. Jaylen Brown. Even if you want to go on the Bucks side of things, Drew Holiday looks so much more aggressive after that game last night. That game's
I would. 6. Connaughton is more athletic than Hero. Like you could just have.
I don't know if I would go that far.
He definitely is.
I love Patty Buckets. I'm sure
he's 100% more athletic.
Okay, fine. I'll say Hero is more fluid. Is that fair?
Hero's definitely a better shooter and
He's
everything, but
smooth.
Hero or Connaughton, in my opinion, is the better athlete. One player got drafted in 2 different sports in the pros, and the other.
Fair. That's a fair point. But with the Heat, I think they do have some concerns. Like this is.
Oh yeah, they're wearing thin.
Like Jimmy can't just carry them. And what do you think Bam is going to do against the front court of Robert Williams, Al Horford, or Giannis and Brook
Lopez, and even Portis is going to.
Bobby Portis.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's yeah. They're going to have bodies. I think it was understood whoever comes out of that Bucks Celtics series is the favorite. You know.
Yeah.
And I would have said that even if it was us, and it definitely even was us. You know, with the way Al Embiid is, injured, but. Yeah, it's a sad end. It's another season that ends in disappointment. It's another season where we can't get past the second round. It's just like bugaboo of ours. And Joel said it. He said it right. He's like, we got to get tougher. We have to do the right things, and.
And Tobias said that after the Game 5 blowout.
And it's like he's another one who disappeared. He was great in the Raptors series, but there's this legion of Tobias Harris defenders out there, and it's like there's nothing wrong with the guy. Like I like him.
Tobias Harris seemed like the only dude that was willing to say we need to get tougher.
Right.
He was the only guy willing to actually push, and it felt like the Harden attitude rubbed off on Embiid. He went the first 2 games Embiid was back in this series. He gets 17 of 23 from the free throw line in 2 games. Pretty solid. Mm-hmm. In 5 and 6, he was 7 for 7 combined.
And apparently the rumor is that he was moping after he found out he lost the MVP award. That's what the rumor came out after Monday. There was reports that he was distant and wasn't talking to people and all this stuff. And if that's true, it's what, man? That's not come on. That's not the reason the city's fallen in love with you, and that's not what you're supposed to be like. I get it. It's gotta suck. It's a punch to the gut that you lost after the season you put up. And
we've been on this channel, on this podcast, saying marching for the Embiid flag and saying that what he's doing. The one criticism was he wasn't healthy, and he was healthy this year, and he was putting up unreal numbers. And that whole turning point is the Toronto series where Embiid stays in the game, and all of a sudden he gets Pascal Siakam just throws an elbow to his eye. And that changes everything. It just changes the whole season.
And the scumbag Raptors fans are cheering, which still...
Toronto's climbing up my list of most hated fan bases.
This is the whole, Philly always said... But it's the truth. If we did that as Philly fans, you would not... you'd still be hearing about how we're pieces of shit. Just like the Yankees fans, what they did. Yeah. And it barely got talked about. They, tried to fight the entire Cleveland... team.
Yeah.
And that's probably the 4th incident the Yankees fans have been involved in, but I digress.
That's been reported.
That's been reported since 2018.
Yeah.
I mean, and the other things, it's just, we don't, you don't need to really address, but I mean, go look them up for yourself. What they did to the Oakland teams, Oakland fans and pitchers in their bullpen. But that said, the fact that their announcers were just and that's karma, and they're all cheering, and nothing's been said or done. I'm just Adam. I used to be a big fan of Adam Silver, but I don't know. After this series, he's a cuck of a fucking
NBA
a commissioner.
There you go.
Part of my language, but it's just I'm just I don't know.
We got
it's. We were texting about this, and I was saying why.
It drives. I know where you're coming from. Is that it drives me nuts as fans that it seems like a double standard is placed on Philly.
Right. And it's here's the whole thing, and not to continue to bitch about Nick Nurse, but I'm gonna use him as this example. He literally all series against the Sixers sat there and talked and bitched into the refs' ears.
Yeah.
And then they literally said whatever they wanted, and he in his post game he's like, oh well, I think the refs they give them favorable calls and blah 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 blah. And Bede was literally said, they got the job done tonight. They didn't ever say the word refs. He's just said, and obviously we all knew what he was talking about,
it was
right?
implied, yeah.
Nick Nurse blatantly says the refs are giving them favorable calls and did a bad job. Embiid doesn't even say the word, gets a $15,000 fine. Nick Nurse, nothing.
Yeah.
Nick Nurse, the whole game, is sitting there yelling, blah, 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 blah. Doc says one thing, teed up.
Yeah.
Doc ran onto the floor. Yes, you can't do that, but it was a head injury. The refs should have stopped that the second Embiid was on the ground. It's a head injury. And they did absolutely nothing, and it's just like, and then Doc gets teed up, and it's like...
No, it's like, where's the standard?
Yeah, and I just feel like it's and we've said it before, and it's maybe it's just the Philly mentality, how we're raised, and it's the whole nobody likes us and we don't care thing, and it's kind of true. That's just how we feel a lot of the time, especially when it comes to our sports teams. But I just feel like that the league, the Adam Silver has told the league to punish us because of the process.
Yeah.
And that is like not but it's I feel like they could have been so blatant about it that they continue to like get like rectified or it just how we're handling it different. And it's annoying and it's a double standard because we're not the first team to tank and we're not going to be the last. And there's teams that are just as obvious as us. And
also,
reasoning,
this was 6 years ago that really the process like kind of finished, like or started, I guess, like 6 to 7, 8 years.
Since 2017.
Yeah.
They had the playoffs every year since 17-18.
And I think as Philly fans, we're always because we're so paranoid about this. We're consistently looking for the double standard,
right?
And it confirms that correspondence or confirmation bias. I took psychology. I don't remember many of the terms. I passed, though. It's all that matters. But I do think it adds when the Philly fans are so paranoid. They're looking for every call that makes their suspicion right. And with the Sixers, like, going forward, I don't understand how Daryl Morey can sit at a podium and say Doc Rivers is going to come back as head coach definitively after that series.
I don't. I mean, when that news broke yesterday, I was just like, "Are you shitting me, really?"
Like we're not even looking at another coach like Quinn Snyder, Frank Vogel.
I would love Quinn Snyder. I would like Frank Vogel. I love.
Say what you will about like LeBron and the Lakers, but Vogel came in when everyone thought
it's not Vogel's fault that the Lakers sucked this year. It's LeBron's fault.
They gave Vogel a shit hand.
Yeah.
Vogel was given a shit hand with Russell Westbrook, who's clearly a shell of himself and doesn't realize it, similar to James Harden. And it drives me nuts that we're not even looking at the options. We're just making this decision a day after we lose. And I get it if your reasoning is like, games 3 and 4 showed what we can do with a fully healthy roster. That's a fair point, but there has to be some type of construction. And Doc didn't help himself like with Philly fans when he said, "Oh, I think I do a terrific job." It's like, no, you don't do a terrific job.
No, why do we keep blowing leads if you do a terrific job? Why did you have the MVP that's almost he's the MVP? Fuck it, I'm just saying. Why did you have
the real MVP?
Why did you have our MVP out there in a clinching game that had been locked up for about 7 minutes with injury risk, like against a team that has taken some chip shots on him, especially Siakam himself, and you can sit there and be like, oh, it was inadvertent. But you know what? I don't know. Maybe it looked inadvertent, maybe it wasn't. I'm not saying he clearly wasn't trying to break his face, but, I wouldn't surprise me if there was a little bit in Siakam's mind, like some jealousy, like, because, he's probably always got to be thinking, like, oh, well, like we both come from the same place in the same country in Africa, but he's the one that always gets talked about.
Yeah, and then, like, there were a couple of instances, if you go back, like, Boucher was kind of getting at Joel a little bit, chirping him.
Well, he's always been dirty. He's been dirty since his Oregon days.
Siakam, there, it wasn't just the elbow. There was the instance where Embiid's, like, walking past him and kind of staring him down, and Siakam grabs at his foot.
Yeah.
Like, there are just multiple instances.
But this and 2019.
Exactly. But the offseason with the Sixers, there's a lot of questions. James Harden, do you give him an extension?
No, that's even worrying. If he was so quick to just say Doc is going to be our coach, he's definitely going to just play his boy.
Yeah.
That's
my biggest concern.
Harden is the drug that Brian Lee can't quit. And I don't
I don't get, like, and here's the thing, like, some people are like, I just want to run back 1 year, just have a same roster 2 years in a row. And, granted,
what
the
led to
roster as constructed hasn't, half the season. But at the same time, it's like, is he a free agent or is he on a contract?
No, I think he's still on a contract.
So you need to replace, you need to get somebody for Seth Curry.
Yeah.
Like, you need to go get that back.
Yeah. And it's so hard. I think it's just impossible. If you give him like a 1 year, like the Stephen A. Kyrie approach, which was like, give him 1 year deals worth like 30 to 40 million, 50 million if you have to. Cool, I can do a 1 year extension. But to lock him up for probably 8 years, whatever the super max is, 5 years for.
Kill the championship game.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got one good full season left, I think, and that's it. And then he becomes a bit part player. Unless he literally takes the Chris Paul approach and goes and like gets his mind right and his body right.
I think that's what he'll do. Because
but I don't know if he's gonna do that.
My hope, not my hope, but my inkling is that this is his transition into the OG role, similar to Chris Paul, where I saw flashes of this during the season after the trade happened, not necessarily when Harden was playing all the time, but you saw Harden on the sidelines like mentoring Tyrese and mentoring some of these younger guys. And I think that's what he's trying to do is he realizes, okay, if I stay in Philly, get an off season where I understand that I'm going to be the lead playmaker, not necessarily the second leading scorer, and I can give Tyrese the ball more and help him get better at scoring all three levels, not just in transition. That's a huge win for the Sixers. And sure, Harden's saying like, I'm going to do whatever helps us win if it means taking less money. I don't necessarily buy into.
Is it a player option for $46 million?
It's a player
He's gonna get
option,
paid
but
40
he's going to get an opt. So he's probably going to opt out. It's not. Well,
Just shut up.
I've never seen weight fluctuate like James Harden. And like in training camp, going into training camp.
His fluctuates worse than a 20-year-old salary chick that gets a beer going and disappears. Like
it's crazy, but like James Harden as a mentor, and then that paves the way for Tyrese. I'm almost okay with like a 3-year deal. All right, we're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna talk baseball because the Phillies are actually kind of good, actually competent, and then we're also gonna be talking about the Eagles because the schedule release just came out. And we will see you on the other side of this break. We'll be right back. All right. 27. That's not too bad. So, kind of set the scene since we last left off. Phillies on a 3-game winning streak. They're up to 16 and 17 on the season, second in the division behind the Mets. They're about like 6.5 games back, 6 games back behind the Mets.
yes, they gained it with us last night. So
Yeah.
thank you, Seattle.
They did not win a series from April 29th, which was a 4-game sweep of Colorado, to May 11th, which was that first game of the series against Seattle. But hey, West Coast trip's working out pretty well.
Good start.
It's a good start, and the offense is actually coming alive.
5 they won now.
Yeah, and 25 combined runs in the last 3 games, including that 10 inning game against the Dodgers, which was a little crazy. Although Bryce Harper, partially torn UCL, so he cannot throw for 4 weeks.
Right, but I mean, that
he's
doesn't really
allowed
change anything because he's been. This is how it's been the whole time.
Yeah, so now he's just been DH, but he's on a 5-game hitting streak and 2 home runs in the last 2 games. So that would be nice.
He's been hitting the ball. He's been spraying it all over the field. He looks like he's getting his swing back. I think he's probably put him a little at ease. Like, obviously, he's probably not happy, but now knowing what is wrong, I think it's probably like, all right, now
We know what I need to do.
Yeah, now that the mystery is kind of taken out of it,
Right.
and we know, like, okay, we have a plan for treatment and stuff like that, that helps a
he's gonna
lot.
get a shot. He's gonna get a shot someday. They said some sort of injection, and then they're gonna like reassess it in 4 weeks and see where he stands. So,
Yeah.
I just hope that whatever it is, they use precaution and they continue to DH him, or like even if the DHing starts to like be a problem.
That's my concern, is that it turns out to be much worse.
That they rest him and they don't rush it so that he screws something up, and then when we really need him come playoff pennant push, he's nowhere to be found because they, thought it was more important to have him in June than it was in August.
Yeah, exactly.
Which would be a classic
Dumb Phillies move.
So, how are you feeling about the Phillies?
A lot better.
Yeah.
I remember, as a week ago, was getting
so frustrating to even watch them.
I couldn't even finish games. I was just like...
That 7-run blown lead was the...
Yeah, I stopped. I was losing my mind. And he was just like, why are you watching? Turn it off. And I literally turned it off and put on another game. Or put on a show or something. It was
just madness.
And, the bullpen did it again the last 2 games. Where
We get these decent leads and then they almost blow them.
The bats, thank God, have
Woken up a little bit, which is good.
But we got to figure out this. They got to figure out this bullpen because you can't just keep winning games
7-6 or 12-10, and
you've got to be able
to shut people down when you need it.
In a 9-7 win, the Phillies had a 6-run lead, 7-1, go as of bottom of the 6th inning, and then the Dodgers stormed all the way back, got 2 runs in the 6th, 4 runs in the 8th. But thankfully, Corey Knebel.
Granted, it's the Dodgers. It's the best lineup in all baseball. From top
which is why I think this trip is huge because
the fact that they've gotten 2,
they're going to split the series at the worst is a big win. That's a big win. I thought they were going to get swept.
Cool. We
won the Seattle series. Time to come back down to earth.
We're
supposed to get all 4 of their
and we beat Walker Buehler. Which is
insane. Yeah.
Small feat. We beat Walker Buehler.
Yeah.
Who,
is one of the best young pitchers in baseball.
The dude stuff is nasty. So that was, I thought for sure he was just going to come out and dominate us. So we were supposed to get Kershaw tonight and they had to scratch him. So I don't even know who they was pitching tonight for them.
Urias.
Oh, they moved Urias up?
Yeah.
So then, Urias is having a good season. He's another solid young arm. He's a lefty. I think he's given us some issues in the past, and it's kind of got that funky delivery, right?
Yeah,
kind of like a sidearm, 3/4 slot, kind of lefty.
The Dodgers, he's had a pretty good season. He's 2-2.
He's got a sub 2. He's like a
2.10 ERA. He's got 23 strikeouts. He's got 1.10 with WHIP, and so he's no slouch. And the biggest concern is Phillies pitching because Ranger Suarez is starting tonight, and I think the biggest thing is getting through that first third of the game.
Right.
Because the Phillies are well aware that, this will be, if they win this game, it'll be the first series that they've won in Dodger Stadium since 2014.
Which is huge.
So, if...
We used to own the Dodgers.
Exactly.
They were our playoff bitch.
Yeah. Fucking Manny Ramirez was starting in left field for him.
We used to... the man was good, though.
Well, I just watched Screwball, which... is the doctor that gave him not even the doctor, unlicensed physician, Tony Bosch. Screwball on
himself a doctor.
Yeah.
Screwball on Netflix?
Yeah, Netflix. It's so wild. It's so wacky.
What's it talking about? Just talk about the...
It's how Bosch basically got A-Rod, Manny Ramirez.
Bonds?
And he wasn't with Bonds. Got these guys steroids, and then business just flooded because it wasn't necessarily just ball players specifically. He was helping out, just citizens of Miami that were cops, models, actresses, housewives that wanted to lose weight or whatever.
Is this guy in jail?
He got jail. I forget how it ended.
I'll take a look.
Yeah, but it's...
I forgot about that.
I forgot how much of a scumbag Rodriguez is, because Rodriguez is
you know why? Because he's smart and he became a broadcaster. He's actually good at it.
He's good.
He's like, I actually enjoy listening to him. So you forget, all the dirty shit that he did.
Yeah.
And then you also kind of felt bad when, J-Lo did to him. It's like, damn.
Yeah, no, the J-Lo thing definitely, I was like, oh, poor A-Rod. But,
according to my friend,
he's a big A-Rod supporter. He's literally A-Rod's #1 fan,
was like, oh, the relationship is all
publicity stunt to repair his image.
Of course, yeah. Of
I'm like,
course.
how is
Dating J-Lo repairing your image? She's been around the block more times than, an ice cream truck.
at this point?
Damn. Damn.
She's in seconds with Ben Affleck. Like, come on.
Hey, I don't blame Ben Affleck.
I
No, so I'm not going to throw her out of bed for eating crackers, let's put it that way.
But Alec Boehm is just having a terrific year. Let's get back to the Phillies. Alec Boehm, comeback player of the year on the Phillies. I can't believe it.
In the words of the
Famous Swedish alt-rock band, The
Hives, I hate to say I told you so, Phillies fans. I said it in the beginning of the year. I don't understand all this love for Reese Hoskins. And I said, everyone getting on Alec Boehm is wrong, and he needs to be given a chance. And what has he done? He's come out and proven it. He had that one bad game in the beginning of the season. He came out, he owned up to it, said, obviously I don't mean that. He did the right thing, exactly what the Phillies fans love. Gave him a standing ovation. And yeah, he's had some miscues, but nothing as bad. Like, if anything, it's just been like, it took a little bit too long one game to throw the ball to first. So he got to get it out. But, like, outside of that, he's leading the team in batting average. His power numbers definitely could use a little more. He's got,
You look at him,
I think he could,
crank.
things. But I mean,
Maybe he's just got to add a little bit of muscle.
but
I think it's even better for his confidence that he knows he can poke the ball all over the field rather than just trying to slug
been
it out.
timely. He's like, he doesn't go up there looking to just put them in the seats. He's going up there and understanding the situation, and it's like, hey, I got a bases loaded. I just need to get the ball deep so we can at least get one right out of this. That's what he did yesterday.
Exactly.
Sack fly when it needed. He's hitting it to all fields. His confidence and swagger's coming back, and all these Philly fans have wanted to give up on him. And you're just like, oh, he sucks, trade him for something, blah, blah, blah. You got Reese, you got to play Bryson Stott. Blah. And don't get me wrong, I do think you need to play Bryson Stott. And he had a solid game yesterday. Hopefully that gets his back going. And he made a couple of good defensive plays at the end.
So with Boehm, I agree. Like, ride the Boehm train, keep that thing rolling. Whatever you got to do. With Stott, like, I get why fans are anxious. Like, put our best prospect out there now while we can contend.
And he had a great spring. He did.
Yeah, but I think you need at least kind of like what we're seeing with Boehm, like a full season of development, or at least maybe he needs some more time in the minors, get more comfortable, and be ready. Now that he's seen Major League pitching, maybe take that back down on the minors and say, okay, let me experiment a little bit and see what I would do in this situation if I'm expecting X pitch or whatever.
Well, I think he's going to be here for a little bit because Didi and
Gene can't seem to stay healthy.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
And so, yesterday Camargo played short and he played second.
Because Gene needed an off day.
But I'm assuming he'll go
Back to short, and Gene will go back to second.
Probably.
Or no, sorry, vice versa. They left him at short. Sorry, Camargo played second. But
Oh yeah.
even Camargo's bat has been. I didn't get why they were playing him so much in the beginning, but even his bat's been picking up.
And
But I will say, and I will outside the bullpen,
my biggest frustration will continue to
be I do not understand the love fest this organization has for Reese Hoskins.
Yes, he's hit a couple
He's the reason we won the other day because he hit a grand slam.
Yeah.
And he's had some solid home runs.
but for
That's
every
Every home run he hits,
and you're right, that's all he does.
That's
it's
all-
either a home run or he strikes out.
Like, it can't just be expecting the Reese Hoskins his rookie year who hit, like, what was it, like
25,
25 home.
7, something like that. But he, at the same time, he batted .257. That's his best batting average ever.
Yeah.
I
Right now,
believe.
he's hitting .218, 5 home runs, 16 RBIs, and somehow he has a .719 OPS.
But here's the thing: it's even like
the smallest things like during the game when they do like the in-game break and like it's like that like that music plays
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
and it's like listen to the Phillies Talk podcast or whatever and he goes where the guys this week will talk about this and the hot prospects you want to know about and he goes and why Reese Hoskins is really the key to the Phillies lineup.
And I'm like, what?
What?
What are you talking about? He's the key.
Well, I could see that in, like, a bad way. Like, if
No,
if
they
they're
were.
like-
I think they were saying it in a good way,
Right. And then like on Monday against the Mariners,
right?
So Segura hits the home run. Reese follows it up. Now, granted, He hit the home run, so I shouldn't complain. But it's like he hit the home run, but literally on the first pitch, it was a
Hang him and bang him breaking
ball, and he just swung right over it.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then he golfed one out. It's like, what? It's like,
it drives you nuts, and
there's no consistency. He doesn't
seem to come up like when you in clutch situations. He's striking out too much. His
play at first base is awful.
But this organization is just in love with him. Like they literally celebrated that home run the rest of the game.
It's like, and let's take a look back at what Reese did in the first inning or second inning.
It's like, cool, so did Segura. And they didn't bring up Segura's hit at all.
It's like in the Cadillac home run drive of the game.
Here's the difference: is that Segura wasn't a prospect that everyone was putting their hopes on, like the Dylan Cousins of the world, the Nick Williams of the world.
Well, I blame the Phillies for Dylan Cousins.
I blame the organization for all these guys not working out. But
like, I'm not saying Dylan Cousins would have been a stud, but
like if you look at the lineup, like Bryson Stott isn't there yet, but Rhys Hoskins is like the last stand of this organization saying we can develop players. And so they're going to put him out there as much as they can so that when he does hit those home runs, he had a 13 game streak of not hitting a home run. And so that was from April, I'm looking right now, April 12th was a 2-0 loss to the Mets. That was after like they won the first game of the series against the Mets. That was in April. He did not hit another home run until April 26th against Colorado in that 10-3 win. Like,
and that's the other thing.
When
he's showing up, it's in the games when everybody else shows up.
Exactly. And a guy whose game is, his offense, I should say, is predicated on hitting home runs. He's not hitting home runs.
And walking, and he's not walking.
He's not drawing walks. What purpose does he serve? Nothing.
Because he's terrible in the field, too.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Whenever he screws up at first base, they always blame the person who threw the ball.
And it's just like, oh,
that's not Reese's fault, just Alex got to get a better throw
Some of those bone throws, I went back and looked at them. Reese was not making the most of an effort against on some of those throws.
He can't scoop the ball for shit. He can't pick it for anything.
Give Ryan Howard credit. He could scoop a ball.
Yes, he could. And he made efforts to get better.
Yeah.
I don't know what Reese is doing.
I know. He's just not, he doesn't want to sacrifice his hitting for defense, apparently, and just thinks that he can coast through in first base.
Well, as long as this organization continues to give him a chance, they will. But it's like, you got a guy in the minors who's tearing it up. And, I'm not saying it's going to translate. He's like a 25-year-old prospect that's like finally blooming.
Yeah.
But, dude, the guy's crushing it. And if you need an extra bat on the bench, why not sit Reese down for a couple games and give this kid a shot if
Reese can't get it together?
Yeah. But looking ahead, so Suarez is on the mound tonight, and then the next game, Nola takes the start. Nola is starting after Suarez, and that next game on Sunday.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Wheeler started Thursday.
No, yeah. Wheeler starts Tuesday against San Diego at home.
I see. I'm a big Suarez guy. I don't know why. Like, when he first was coming up, I was like, oh great, another slow left-handed pitcher. He doesn't throw hard, and
he's been kind of like the diamond in the rough.
And then last year when they made him the starter, I didn't miss a single start. I enjoy watching him pitch because he's technical. Yeah. He works the ball around the zone. Yeah, he's not going to overpower you, but he goes out there. He's not slow about it. He moves. He's quick with his
had six.
Mark Burley, where Al
just give me the ball, let's go. I just want to get going.
He's like an old school type pitcher.
Yeah, he's like the
Jamie Moyer with a little bit more speed.
Exactly.
And it's awesome.
And he, I think, is a perfect tonic
for this Dodgers line. What they
don't like.
Yeah.
I think
he can frustrate them all night.
And I hope he does, because I can see us having problems with Urias.
Yeah. I could definitely see this coming down to a 2-0 deficit, maybe 3-0.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be as high scoring
as it was the first two games.
Yeah, exactly. And Suarez is coming off one of his best outings as a Philly. Had 6 full shutout innings, 4 hits, and only 7 strikeouts and 2 walks.
Yeah, so he's starting to get. You got to think he had those visa problems, which.
On him, that's a little on him. Come on, Ranger. You got to understand, pandemic still.
Our country right now
isn't in the greatest at times when it comes to,
having,
foreigners coming and going. Like,
It's a take care of your responsibilities.
exactly.
type
Like you
situation.
gotta be a better pro. And so I think like he's at now where he should have been if there was a full spring training and he got there on time and everything. And I think he's finally kind of warmed up
Hitting the groove.
and he's starting to hit the groove that he was in last year when he went. What was it like? He like made 13 starts and he was like 5-1 with like a 1-something ERA, right?
Yeah, he had something. He was like
It was like
red
a
hot.
189 ERA. That's what I'm saying. Like it was just so much fun to watch him like play.
Yeah, he didn't give up in his last. Well, I'm counting right now. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In his last 8 starts last season, he did not give up more than 3 earned runs.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them were like 1 runs, and he was just like he was going out, and they were against good teams too.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like beating up on like the Little Sisters of the Poor.
Well, Baltimore.
Oh,
I
forgot we
Pittsburgh.
played them.
Yeah.
But I mean,
He did
Yeah, but anyway, looking ahead, like, A, do the Phillies win this series? And B, how do they fare against the Padres?
so
this is it. They come home.
So they
to
have
the Padres.
two games in LA this weekend,
Right.
as we're taping this.
And then
It's home for the Padres.
home for the Padres, and then they host the Dodgers again. And then
Right.
it's Atlanta and I think the Mets.
well, I think last week they
Highlighted it too. It was like starting with this Mariner series. It was like
the next like 20.
some games. It was
That's-
going to
that's-
be a brutal. It's going to be.
They get the break.
They finally going to get the Braves.
Who
They're kind of doing the same thing as us, like yo-yoing a little bit.
But they, this next week with these next 2 games, the Padres and then the Dodgers again, is like just as
A very vital stretch that.
so you got those 2, and then what is it, 3 and 3? So it's 6 against. What do you have?
Thursday
yeah,
off?
it's 3 and 3.
They have Monday off or Thursday off?
Monday.
Okay.
So they get a rest day.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next 8
Games like.
if you want to be serious, like you got to go 5 and 3 at worst.
Yeah.
I would say 6 and 2. That might be a little ambitious considering that like we're still a game under and they're just starting to kind of wake up now. But anything
good
less
news-
than 5 and 3 is bad in my opinion.
The good news is that Nola's starting the last game against the Dodgers, and then you got Wheeler taking them out for the opener against the Padres. So if you can close out that series finale against the Dodgers, and then you go in
And then you'll get Nola on Friday.
on the
Friday or Saturday.
on the Friday, that's the opener against the Dodgers again, which could be a huge test for Nola himself because we've talked about Nola being the X factor of this season and kind of dictating.
Yeah, it'd be Saturday, wouldn't it? Because
I'm looking at the schedule right now.
So it goes what? Then it goes Wheeler,
Gibson, Suarez, and then back to Nola.
back to Nola. Who's the?
They don't have a listed starter for that Saturday game as of right now on ESPN at least.
Wheeler, Gibson, Suarez, Nola. Who's our? Eflin.
Eflin.
That's the missing link.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they
might. Could you?
you think maybe that if Eflin comes back, they slot him in Friday, then put Nola, so they
Only
finally
have Nola and Wheeler going 1-2.
Yeah, maybe.
is the way, and then you have Gibson. I mean, at this point, Suarez is definitely our third.
Best pitcher.
And the Padres pitching is not at its best.
I mean,
right
Their
now.
lineup's not even hitting great
No,
right now.
and they're still missing Tatis.
They signed freaking Cano.
Yeah, right.
That's how rough it's been.
And the pitching has given up 4 runs or more in the last 3 straight games. So there's no guarantee that.
Who does it say who we're gonna get from the Padres?
Let me.
Clevenger in there.
I think so.
'Cause
Yeah.
I think he's still working his way back. We could definitely get to him.
So the Padres are Gore, Clevenger, and Martinez.
Martinez.
I'm trying. Yeah, I have no idea who that is. Oh, Nick Martinez. He's 31 years old.
Is Gore struggling?
Let me look.
I thought he was having. He's one of the ones that's having a okay
Good year. Probably. Because who was that? What happened to Snell?
Oh shit! Yeah, where is he? Maybe that's why they got
That Martinez guy in there.
Yeah, Gore has been solid, and for a prospect, he's off to a red hot start. Yeah, you can look up Snell. Gore's off to a 2.42 ERA, 2-1 in the win-loss column. He's got 28 strikeouts, so
So
he's no
been the one.
slouch.
Yeah, he's been the one.
And I think for the Phillies, they could really build up some confidence with that Sunday game, which will probably be when this episode goes out. because for Nola to kind of reinforce himself, because he's had a couple of really good outings his last two starts.
It's not his fault. He
should have had a win.
He
was great in that
Mets game.
Yes.
That was the Aaron Nola from 2018 that went 18-3, and if it wasn't for DeGrom
being out of this world,
would have had a Cy Young.
Yeah.
He
would have a Cy Young award. The way he pitched against the Mets is what gave us
high hopes. So he had an ace.
Yeah.
And he's shown flashes and then he just disappears. It's like he pulled like how Cole
Hamels used to do it, where he'd be like so good and then it's just like
So I think I'm gonna take the Dodgers to win tonight. Then this will be last night as this episode goes out, probably tomorrow. I do think that the Phillies can pull off that Sunday finale. I really do believe.
Yeah, especially if it's just like a no-name pitching for the Dodgers.
Yeah, Nola pitching back on the bump, and he's strung together a couple of really good outings, and then they carry that momentum into Tuesday against the Padres, where Wheeler can take that and use to run with that against a Padres lineup that still doesn't have Tatis yet, and now they're throwing in Robinson Cano all of a sudden.
Snell's he's currently making rehab
starts.
Oh, okay.
So he did something. He was pulled a month ago from a start.
Okay.
With left
abductor
tightness.
Okay. So that's good because it gives he's not going to start in this series, obviously.
No, and we've faced him before, and he's made us look silly.
Yeah, exactly. So I honestly over these next 5,
you're going with the series win.
I think a Dodgers series win, and honestly, I'll go with this may be a little bit of a hot take. I'm gonna go with the sweep of the Padres. I think the Padres are just the limping dog at this point, trying to figure out, just trying to get to the finish line fully healthy. And in the stacked NL West, I think they're gonna collapse under the pressure of, trying to catch up to the Dodgers. Mm-hmm. And I don't think they'll be able to handle that.
They've been a year away for
a couple of years.
And they only made the playoffs
that 1 year in the bubble.
And then
they're a fun team. I'd like to see them win.
Oh Slam Diego was a fun time.
That's I think they're fun and I like them. I'm sick of watching the Dodgers win, and
we all know
as Phillies fans, screw the Giants and screw Gabe Kapler.
So, I definitely want
to see them win, just not these next 3 games when we face them. So I say we're going to get 2-1 against
the Padres.
You know what? I'm going to call it that we're going to sweep the Dodgers. We maybe get a little.
Ooh, buddy.
I just think Nola and Suarez right now are in a good zone. The bats are hot. I think the bats stay hot. I think Suarez outpitches
Urias.
And when I look stupid, come
next couple of weeks.
In the next 24 hours, and this prediction is wrong.
You say whatever, but yeah, I like the way they actually seem like
they have fight
now.
Yeah.
And if you can get Suarez to go at least 7 innings, and so you don't have to rely on all the other crackheads in the bullpen, and just get it to Knebel, I think we should be good. And then I think Nola comes out ready to prove, all right, Zach looked good, Ranger looked good, I got to look good too, let's get it done.
Yeah, I'm kind of in agreement, and that second Dodger series, that'll be completely different than this first Dodger series that we're kind of in the middle of, because Nola and Wheeler will both be pitching in that series.
Right.
So that'll be huge. So over the next 8, I think I'm looking at probably 7-1, 6-2. I'm confident with saying 6-2 at the moment. Could this all change within 24 hours? Yeah, absolutely.
I'd say 6-2 then too. Yeah.
All right, so we're good on that. Last thing, Eagles, the Birds, schedule just released, and also free agent just got released.
NFL never knows not when to push a marketing technique.
Did you see? Did you see Taylor Lewan's tweet?
No.
He's shout out the boys, busted with the boys. He said he tweeted out can you just tell us who we're playing? The schedule release is so overrated.
They were you would see it on ESPN. I'd go and get lunch, and every day I go to the same spot, and when I have to go into work, and I go and I sit down, and they always have they have all the TVs on, and they have the ESPN on, and it's just every day for the last 2 weeks is May 12th, the NFL schedule release, and it's and I'm
in my head, I'm just what the really, man?
And then I'm you know what?
You can't be mad at them because there are idiots out there that fucking care about this stuff, and it's just like,
All right.
like yeah, I care, but not to the point that I'm gonna sit there and watch it. Like
I did watch it. I think last year because there was like nothing on. But some key dates for the Eagles. Week 2 is their first Monday Night Football game against Minnesota. They host that. Week 7 is a bye. Is their bye?
It's an early bye.
It's a very early bye. Week 10, November 14th, Carson Wentz comes back to Philly. That's like the Ben Simmons date of football in Philly this year. That'll be a Monday Night Football game. And then weeks 11 through 13.
yeah, that was smart on them.
Yeah, weeks 11 through 13 is going to be probably the toughest stretch because they go to Indy and then they come back home to host Green Bay and then host Tennessee. So A.J. Brown revenge game in that last game against Tennessee.
Isn't there somebody else
In there too.
They go to New York. They go to MetLife to play the Giants after that. There's also that
The Texans suck.
coming off the bye week in week 8, now we're just kind of bouncing around. They host Pittsburgh. They host the Steelers, which will be a huge Battle of PA matchup, obviously, and that'll be a huge test for Jalen Hurts. How does he handle that Pittsburgh defense?
I mean, that's not an easy stretch either. It's Cardinal. They got to go to Arizona for the second year in a row.
You're looking at week 5.
Yeah.
So yeah, week 5 they go to Arizona. Week 6 they come home to host Dallas. That's a Sunday Night Football game, and then they hit the bye.
November 14th. Did you say October or November 14th that Carson comes here?
November 14th.
Okay. Yeah, because then my birthday, the Cowgirl. Ooh, give me a good birthday present, Eagles. The Cowgirls on Sunday
Night Football? Hello.
Yeah, but then
We never play on that's usually when we have a bye. It's so weird. So
That's a tough little stretch there.
in Arizona, the Cowgirls at home, and then
bye week,
and then the Steelers.
and then but I
And the
think
bye
that,
week, then the Steelers.
Okay,
but
so
that could actually work to their benefit because then they got a whole week to game plan
Yeah.
that Pittsburgh defense because that's going to be really the deciding factor.
Right. It's that. Well, whoever they picked to play, at that point, do you think what's his name starting?
Kenny Pickett,
Yeah.
Kenny Two Gloves. I wouldn't be surprised. I haven't looked at Pittsburgh's schedule at all, and
But I'm just
saying at that point in the
I don't
thing,
think so. I don't think so. I think they're going to go a whole year with Trubisky. I don't think they're in any rush to throw Pickett in there when he doesn't have to be. And I think they want to kind of give him some more weapons before they do throw him in there to kind of make him.
I mean, they got plenty of weapons.
they got Najee Harris. They got a really good tight end in Freiermuth.
Oh yeah,
They got Claypool, who the thing.
I'm not sold on Claypool.
They have
I'm not
weapons.
sold.
Big Ben just couldn't throw the ball to him.
True, but I'm not sold on. I think Claypool is just Juju Smith-Schuster all over again
Without the
with more TikToks.
Is he really that bad on TikTok?
No, not that bad. He's not as bad as Juju. Doing.
I just think they
posting some questions.
I just think they didn't give him the ball.
But look,
The quick.
Do the old Mike
So-
Missinelli bit where you go through. So week 1 win, right?
yes,
Week 2,
Win or
winner.
lose.
win.
Yeah, I
call
think
that
I think we beat the Vikings at home.
at home on Monday night. I think that'll be huge.
week 3 at Commanders.
I'm gonna take that as a loss.
Yeah. You think they did?
Chase Young coming back will be the biggest difference maker.
I say win.
Because it's still Carson Wentz at quarterback.
Yeah, I say we win that game.
Okay, so you got 3-0. I got 2-1. Home against Jacksonville, win.
Win. I say we lose at Arizona. It seems to be like a house of horrors for us.
Yeah.
We can't in the the playoffs in 2009, and it seems to just be a place we can't go and win games. So I think that's where so 4-1 for me.
So you're at 4-1. I'm at 3-2. Home against Dallas, Sunday Night Football.
Win. Big win.
Win. Okay.
Yeah. Sunday Night Football at home. As we said, probably roll out the all black uniforms. You get the crowd behind with them.
I'll roll with that. So you're at 5-1. I'm at 4-2. Hit the bye week. Home against Pittsburgh. I think that's a win.
They're home against Pittsburgh?
Yes. That's October 30th, the day before
Hmm.
Halloween.
Is that another night game? Oh my
God, my
No,
computer's
it's-
annoying the hell out of me.
No, it's 1 p.m. On CBS. Maybe get the Jim Nance call?
Yeah, do you get the... Yeah, I say win.
So 5-2. I'm at. I just completely lost track. 5-2.
No, I'm 6-1.
6-1. I'm 5-2. That's what I'm. Houston.
7-1.
7-1. I'm at 6-2. At home against Washington, the Carson Wentz homecoming.
8-1.
Yeah, I'm on board with you there. 7-2.
And then this is where I think they'll trip up. I think they'll lose 2 in a row here to the Colts and the Packers.
I think they could beat the Packers.
Aaron Rodgers has always had our number. I guess we did beat them, didn't we?
Here's my thing about Indy is they went from one quarterback in Phillip Rivers, who couldn't move and needed play action in the run game.
Yeah, right.
To Carson Wentz, who needed play action in the run game and isn't mobile. To Matt Ryan, who needs play action.
But you got to think. Matt Ryan didn't really have a line.
That's fair, but we saw against the Eagles opening week last season, the Falcons just ran it down our throats that first half, and is Jonathan Taylor could have a huge game, but I don't think Matt Ryan is this massive difference maker. And
I think he's a little bit of an up. I don't think Matt Ryan at where he is now in his career is a massive, but I think he's a better option than Wentz.
Oh, for sure.
But
because he's going to make the smart plays. He's not going to turn the ball over, and he's one of the smartest guys in the league, at least from the quarterback position.
Right.
And he can adapt to an offense relatively quickly.
And Frank Reich is, I think, one of the better head coaches, especially when it comes to getting what he needs to get out of his quarterbacks.
Yeah, I'm going to bank on. I think this is the Jordan Davis monster game where you just see him get maybe a sack, 2 sacks, and he could really feast. And I think against Green Bay, that'll be another defensive game because the Packers do not have Devontae Adams anymore, which is so massive and can help the Eagles defense immensely because they don't got to worry about him. And so you can stack the box for Aaron Jones, and sure, Lazard and Valdez-Scantling can burn you a couple of times, but I'd be happy to take that over worrying about Jones and Adams at the same time.
It's where our run defense is. Because if we don't have a good run defense...
Yeah.
Is it our run defense? No, it's our pass defense was shit last year.
Oh, yeah, both. I mean, pass defense was pretty bad.
But, if we don't have a good run defense,
these 3 weeks in a row, with Taylor and the Jones and Dillon combo...
Yeah.
Which I'll still never understand why
everyone thinks A.J. Dillon's better than Aaron Jones.
He's just more of a specimen, that's why.
I think Aaron Jones, I'd take him in a heartbeat. And then Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
So, if
our run defense isn't up to snuff, that could be 3 losses in a row.
That's true.
They could just
run. Everyone could just run all over us and it could be a bad spot. Between those 3 games,
I just think that's where the Eagles go 1-2.
I just don't know where we get the win.
I think they get 2-1. I think they go 2-1 and they lose that Tennessee game. I think that's the game that could really trip them up.
If it was in Tennessee, I would think more. You know what? Yeah. This is why it's tough to play this stupid game.
Because I'm sitting at right now.
I was 8-3, so that would make me 9-3 if I do that. Yeah.
9-3, yeah.
So I'm at 8-4 or 8 and no. How does he do math? I'm at 8-4. It's 12 games.
9-3 for
You're
me.
9-3.
Yeah.
I'm 8-4. You're 9-3. At New York.
Win.
Yeah, you're at 10-3. I'm at 10-4. At Chicago, this is a game that I feel like could be an easy trap game.
Yeah, I feel especially going to Dallas the next week, they could move that game to a Sunday night game depending on where we both stand. Chicago, actually, we'll see. They have a competent head coach finally. I
think this is the Justin Fields. He takes not a massive leap, but at least a small leap.
Yeah,
it's all about Fields. It's all about where Fields stands in his development.
Yeah.
If he is not ready to step up and be the guy, then they're in a lot of trouble. It's also, who are their weapons? You know, when you think about it, it's what do they really have? Because did they lock up Allen Robinson or did they let
No,
him?
Robinson went to the Rams.
That's right. So then it's like, you know, who is he throwing the ball to? Out Cole Kmet? I love Cole, but like he still hasn't proven to be like.
I'm looking at the depth chart. So David Montgomery, like it's pretty much in the backfield because they got David Montgomery, Khalil Herbert. Darnell Mooney had some flashes.
Right, yeah, they're really big on him.
I think Pringle can be a really good middle of the field, kind of coming
I
across
got
the middle.
Byron Pringle.
Yeah, but other than that, Cole Kmet, not really much of an option.
Oh, he is. He's like but he's not like the modern
tight end.
He's
Yeah,
he's still more of an old school tight end.
Yeah, I take that back. But their only other starting wide receiver is Velus Jones Jr.
Who?
Velus?
Never heard of him.
Veus?
Huh?
Never heard of him.
Patrick Ewing?
To the Sonics? Never heard of him. There's all the ESPN commercials with the senior citizens.
Yeah. He was a third-round pick out of Tennessee. That's why he played at Tennessee. No wonder why. Daz Newsome. I think Daz Newsome needs some more snaps. He came out of UNC.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah,
Maybe he takes another.
because he's electric. He was really fun to watch at UNC.
And they got the guy from the Packers, St. Brown.
Equinemius, another
Equinemius.
name guy.
Yeah. And so they have some options, and these guys are going to get plenty of snaps because the Bears aren't really going anywhere, contending at least anytime soon. It's all about fostering youth. So I'm going to take that because it's in Chicago in December. I'm going to take that as a loss.
Yeah, I can see that being a trap game. I can see them kind of falling asleep and
You know, like being like,
just not up to snuff. So 10-4 for me.
10-4. I'm at 9-5. 9-5, right? Yeah. 9-5 sounds about right. If not, I'll just edit the text just to correct myself. 9-5, 10-4 at Dallas. This is when the Saturday games come into effect, and this is going to be on Christmas Eve, 4/25. I think this is the loss. I think this is where the regular season Cowboys come into effect, and then everyone blows them off for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, we usually screw up in December against them.
Yeah, we probably do lose
This game, but then we bounce back, I think.
Oh!
Oh, Mane. Oh my god. But so I'm at 9-6, right? Yeah, 9-6. Are you taking this as a loss?
Yeah, I'm taking it as a loss.
All right, so 10-5.
But then they bounce
Back and they beat the Saints.
11-5. I agree.
And then they beat the
6.
12-5. I think is how they finish.
You're at 12-5. I'm at
An ambitious
12-6.
12-5.
I'm okay with 11-6. I feel comfortable about that.
That too.
And the Giants just don't seem to be going anywhere unless they surprise us again. But that does it for all of us here at the Black and Blue Pod. Thank you all for tuning in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out our YouTube channel. Got some clips up on there. And we'll catch you in the next episode.
Hi, Mom.